A test is performed on the acidity of rain in the northeast United States. If the pH level is found to be below 4.5, then the government will enact strict policies to control the pollution to fight the problem. A random sample of rainwater is collected and the acidity is tested. The null hypothesis is that mu is equal to 4.5. The alternative hypothesis is that mu is less than 4.5. Describe what a type 1 and a type 2 error would look like in this setting and discuss the consequences of each type of error. So if the null hypothesis is that mu is equal to 4.5, then that means we have no acid rain problem. If the alternative is that mu is less than 4.5, then we have an acid rain problem. Can't talk. Okay, so what's a type 1 error? Type 1 is that reject the null by mistake. All right, that's our definition of a type 1. So if we reject the null by mistake, then that means we think we have an acid rain problem when really we don't. So we believe we have acid rain, but we really don't. Okay, so it says the consequences of that. Well, notice what they say. The government will enact strict policies to control pollution to fight the problem. So that means that we put in strict policies to fight a non-existent problem. Okay, so you could expand on that by saying, well, if these types of policies would be economic policies, so you might reduce the economy of the country to fight a problem that you didn't really need to fight. So that would be bad for business, bad for people, bad for the economy. Type 2 error. If 1 is rejecting the null by mistake, 2 is failed to reject the null, and that's by mistake again. So if I fail to reject the null, that means I think the alternative is true. So in the context, we believe failed to reject the null by mistake. So we believe that we do not have acid rain. We believe we have no acid rain, but we really do. Okay, so we don't reject the null, so we think the null is true, but it turns out we really do have acid rain. Okay, well, if we do have acid rain, but we don't take any action to control it, you'd have all the environmental degradation that comes with acid rain. You'd pollute the environment, you'd kill the trees and kill the plants, and people will melt, and it would be terrible. So people really wouldn't melt, but you know what I mean. So type 1 is when you have evidence that the alternative is true when in fact the null is true. So that would be a false positive. Type 2 is a false negative. False negative means that you think you have evidence that suggests that the null is true when in fact the alternative is true. So that's it.